this quick video, I would like to demonstrate how to make use of the embedded API firewall within the Axway API Gateway. Let's assume we have the following request, and we would like to make sure that this one is detected as an SQL injection. Actually, it isn't, because when I run this request, you see there is the status OK returned. And in order to make use of the API firewall based on ModSecurity, I need some rule sets, and I decide to go with that OWASP ModSecurity Core Rule Set version 3.0.2, and I have already downloaded the source code to my API Gateway installation folder. And this is what I have here. This is the downloaded archive, and I have extracted it into that folder. And what I do need to, in order to detect that kind of request, I'm going into that rules folder, and within here, I need for sure that this is mandatory, that in this initialization configuration file, I need to have that cross-site scripting file. It's a good choice, and I would like to have the SQL injection configuration file. Lastly, I need that SQL errors configuration or config file. And these four files I'm going to copy into my API Gateway installation folder. You see system, conf, threat protection, default, and there's an activated rules configuration file. Within that, I copied these four files. There is another thing to do because of how the way how the config files are loaded. And for that, I have to take that config file and also copy it into that rules folder, into that activated rules folder, like so. And then we rename that file, and we have to make sure that this file appears first. And for that, I'm calling that 0 CRS setup conf to make sure that this file is read first before this one, and all the other ones. So that means I'm renaming that file. And then I have to do a small change. I'm saying that the default action for all rules should be deny, and then I can leave that file, save it. Okay. And the last thing, I have to activate my ModSecurity config in general at the moment, or by default. That configuration file, how we ship it with the API Gateway, is to be in the mode detect only. But as I'm not going to use any kind of notification alert policies, it's not very, let's say, yeah, we would not see so much during that demo. And that's why I'm saying that the security should be really on, and requests which are detected should be ultimately blocked. So this is what I have to do as part of the configuration within my API Gateway itself. And then lastly, I have to configure for an exposed interface. And in my case, I'm using that HTTP 8080 interface. I have to configure to use ModSecurity. And I'm going into that configuration. And here, under the advanced block or tab, I can say there should be a threat protection profile applied. And actually, I haven't any protection profiles configured. I'm going to create a new and just saying that should be a demo. And you see that the configuration directory is exactly that configuration directory where we have just placed our rules files in that threat protection default. And then there is the rules directory, activated rules, and the main config file should be modsecurity.conf. And this is what I do skip, and that's why I have not, or I have changed detection only to on, because otherwise you will only see, let's say, warning messages, and I would like to have my requests finally blocked. So with that, you can fire an alert in case, let's say, that the protection rule is triggered. Okay, let's leave it like that and say it should be demo. Say OK. And now I have to push back, deploy my configuration to my API gateways. So this is done. And now I'm going to check what happens with my request. And now the operation is blocked. So that means the request is rejected. And we can go into the API Gateway Manager to see the reason why it has been blocked. You see it's a 403. And now ModSecurity access denied with status code 403, phase 2 detected SQL injection using lib injection with fingerprint, blah, blah, blah. And then you see ultimately the ID that has, let's say, applied to the request. And with that, you can then make further investigations and things like that. But the important thing is that you see, even if the ModSecurity engine is running before the policy engine and so on, you see anyway the request appearing in the monitoring, and then you can make decisions from there. Okay, that was all I wanted to show. I hope it was useful.